Hi, I'm Grimith, and it's once again time for Ancient History. We just revisited 5 Days a Stranger and 7 Days a Skeptic. We continue now with Trilby's notes, set a few years after 5 Days. My memory remains hazy, and we'll see where that leaves us because Trilby's notes plays like an old interactive fiction game. I don't remember having much trouble with Yahtzee's text parser, but I am a veteran of obtuse adventure games. It's a skill set which hasn't translated well into real-life benefits. I reckon it's like one of the hobby knowledge skills you take in Shadowrun. Anyway, I ask you folks to be considerate of others who have not played this game before. Do not bring things up in the comments until they're brought up in-game. Some of you have been bouncing off the walls and have written things before their time. Air conditioner, now is not your time to write things. Please. It's late October. We'll be fine, he said, choosing to believe that was true. I have been tolerant of folks gleefully, exulting, full of exuberation, just impatience, all in the comments, because this is a revisit. But the hard-ass Grimith of old does yet lurk in the shadows. You have been warned. A few reminders, this game is free of charge from Yahtzee himself. I'll provide a link in the video description. This game is also in a 640 by 400 window. I have distorted into 720p, and I'll be playing it by watching my recording preview screen. Dev commentary will remain off. If you want Yahtzee's view, then you can either play the game yourself, or watch his own Ego review. I'll also link that in the video description. I've not watched the Ego reviews, but I know some viewers have enjoyed them. Oh, and one more thing. This game is exposition heavy. 5 Days and 7 Days focus primarily on character interaction. In Trilby's notes, we're reading Trilby's notes. There's still dialogue, but, well, you'll see. Just know that I'm going to be reading aloud just about everything. That's right. You get Storyteller Grimith back for this game, instead of judiciously applying his voice Grimith. Your mileage will vary. Let's get on with it. Not you, air conditioner. You don't get to come along for this ride. Alright. Position the game window there. Look at my sound sliders one more time. My controls. If I click out of the game, music stops. Okie dokie. So if I ever want to have a moment where I monologue at you kids instead of reading the game, we have access to that technology. Splendid. Tutorial? Sure. Commentary? I'm good. The following documents are taken from the handwritten notes of Trilby, an STP field operative whose real name remains classified. Game over. You don't autoplay cutscene? Okay. That was what I thought as I stood and watched DeFoe Manor collapse into flaming ash. The ordeal was over. Those 5 days cost us all so much. Philip and AJ paid with their lives. They were the fortunate ones. Jim Fowler was expelled from school for truancy, a bright future in tatters. Simone Taylor took to the bottle. Her broadcasts became slurred, her eyes hollow and unwelcoming. She soon vanished from television screens. As for me, I tried to return to life as a cat burglar, but I've been forever tainted by my time spent in that wretched house. The memories of my possession came back in my nightmares. Every night I was there again in the mansion, staring out through unfamiliar eyes as Philip died at my hands. I became convinced that John DeFoe was not at rest, that someday he would return for me. John DeFoe is the name of Roderick's second son, his unwanted and unloved son, the one who killed his beloved Belinda in childbirth. We're just accepting that now as the name we used to refer to him. It's better than calling him retarded all the damn time, Yahtzee. I became so terrified of invisible enemies that I forgot about the tangible ones. Trilby caught, Infamous thief captured in police sting. 2 slow, miserable years. Okay, it's only been a couple years instead of a few. After DeFoe Manor, a barrage of truncheon blows taught me a harsh lesson in reality, and I woke up in the kind of filthy cell I assumed would be my new home. But then he came, the man from the government with his nervous smile, offering an alternative. The G-Man. The STP, the Special Talent Project. It hadn't been that much earlier that I would have sooner died than entered an obligation with anyone, least of all the government. Had DeFoe Manor changed me so much? Whatever my reasons, I left my past behind and resolved to give my new superiors nothing to complain about. I spent a year and a half completing assignments, developing contacts, building a reputation. And then, the past caught up. In the summer of 1997, I became concerned about Simone Taylor's mental well-being. The papers were reporting her continual breakdown, and she had become a virtual recluse. Or recluse, if you prefer. I had no idea if my appearance would assist or hinder. I had, after all, deliberately allowed her to think me dead. Presumably she knew differently now, after the media coverage of my arrest, but I would expect her to be bitter about my subterfuge. On balance, I decided that a meeting with an old friend would most likely be beneficial. I came to her apartment building on a warm, stormy night, and braced myself for the encounter. Use the cursor keys to move. Tap once to start moving, tap again to stop. To give a command, just start typing it, and the text box will appear. Use simple sentences like look around or knock on door. The question mark signifies the game expects input. When it is visible, you are free to move and issue commands. Like now. Look. Simone's apartment building was gripped by a thick smell of musty, unwashed carpets. It perplexed me that a celebrity would choose to live in such low-rent accommodation. Also the text, just due to its font and how it's italicized, is not appearing that wonderfully in the distorted view, even with the filter I have on. Reading will be slightly harder than I had hoped. That's okay, I am a professional. Consummate, skilled character of clicking back in the game window so we don't hear that sound effect looping obnoxiously ad nauseum for all of eternity. Look at window. A summer storm was raging outside. Light rain pattered against the glass. The gentle noise punctuated by rumbles of coarse thunder. Look, stairs. Creaky steps led back down to the lobby. Look, rug. Look, carpet. Look, floor. Look, look, light fixture. Look, Trilby. I felt almost naked without my blazer, but it wasn't practical during the summer months. Yes, so Trilby the gentleman thief is now working for the government. But this much we knew, and a few other things, you may recall, in 7 Days a Skeptic. Think back to what you know about the first 2 games. And keep those facets in mind of questions unanswered and even elements you do understand, or at least you think you do. Trilby's Notes is about patterns. And serves as a bridge between what the fuck happened in 5 days and what the fuck happened in 7 days. Look, door. 2 entrances to 2 apartments. Simone's was the one on the right. Look, door. Yep. Knock on door. I knocked sharply upon Simone's door. Press F3 to recall your last command. Receiving no reply, I knocked again louder. Still no response. The doorman had assured me Simone was in. I decided it was time to enter by my own methods. Press Tab, or type INV to view your inventory. Press Tab again. Close it. Look, lockpicks. I still carried lockpicks with me wherever I went. The SCP had offered to supply any number of sophisticated infiltration tools, but I was only comfortable with picks. Use picks on self. Text parser's like, okay, you just wanted to use the picks, that's all. I reasoned that Simone could have been in trouble, and even if she wasn't, then at worst I was only playing to my reputation. I spent a few minutes feverishly picking the lock, then let myself in. Look, room. Simone's bedroom light refused to turn on. I stood in pitch darkness, the intermediate flashes of lightning preventing my eyes from adjusting, and like a fool, we leave the door closed. Open door. Let some light come in from the hallway. Damn it! Alright. Find switch. Look, window. Only part of the light was in the room. It's because open blinds. Ominous, like, Alfred Hitchcock shadow there in front of the window, and, well, look, Simone. The body on the floor was undoubtedly Simone. I felt for her pulse, and my hands came away stained with long, cool blood. My fingers traced the outline of a large wound in her torso, slashed by a big weapon, wielded by a big assailant. I called for an ambulance, as futile as it would be, and left before they arrived. Due to me being a clear murder suspect, I was relieved from duty for the week it took for the Ministry of Occultism to inspect the flat and confirm supernatural activity. My superiors simultaneously apologized and assigned me to investigate if there was a connection to the DeFoe Manor incident. Merely reading those 3 words, capitalized in the front of a loose-leaf file, brought the nightmares back with more intensity than ever. Ooh, actually got goosebumps. Sure enough, the field agent reported that looters had discovered and sold several artifacts from the mansion, including the wooden idol that housed John DeFoe's soul. To my surprise, no murders had been reported or committed by anyone who had come into contact with the accursed trinket. I did not find this reassuring. I quickly advised James Fowler to go into hiding. He was stunned but agreed. The boy had sense and still respected my judgment. This done, I began following the idol's trail. From the pawn shop, it had entered the possession of one Professor Abed Chahal, an authoritative historian. He had scheduled some kind of antique fair in the Clanbronwyn Hotel, on a small island off the coast of Anglesey, popular with tourists. Assuming the role of a scholar of antiquities, I booked a room. On the 28th of July, 1997, I caught a ferry from in Anglesey and arrived at around 3 p.m. in Clanbronwyn's Island's coastal village. Listen, folks, Grimith has encountered many, many things in his lifetime. But one thing he has not yet encountered is an intimate understanding of how to pronounce Welsh. Okie dokie. You go to Old Dragon if you want that kind of content. That's AULDDRAGON. No space. Okie dokie, okie dokie. It seemed a peaceful hamlet, and in defiance of stereotype, the locals were welcoming and told me no local legends to dissuade me from exploring the island. The Clanbronwyn Hotel was in the island's center, surrounded by forest. I made my way there on foot. You're Trilby, right? As soon as I arrived, I was greeted by a balding man in a gray anorak. I wondered if I was expected to know who he was. That depends. My name is Linkman. I'm with the Ministry of Occultism. Oh? I thought the Ministry were clear on the fact that I was handling this on my own. Maybe there are still people who don't trust you, Mr. Trilby. What? I haven't stolen anything since I joined the STP. Your colorful past is not what concerns my superiors. It hasn't gone unnoticed that your history with the DeFoe Wraith influences you psychologically. I'm sure you resist it, but it could still cause you to act irrationally, disobey orders. Everyone just feels a little safer with someone else on the ground. I see. You can rest assured that I will endeavor to maintain absolute professionalism on this assignment. Nevertheless, I have my orders. I would suggest we keep out of each other's way, then, and pursue separate investigations. I'm sure I don't want to get mixed up in a reunion. I watched him disappear around the corner of the building. I very much doubted that Linkman and I would become friends. The Clan Bronwyn Hotel lobby was a warm welcome. The building was certainly well maintained, and yet there was something about it that nagged at the back of my mind, quickening my pulse. I dismissed the sensation, act which, in retrospect, I would come to regret. Good evening. Terence Railby. I have a reservation. Ah, yes, you're here for the antique fair. We put you in room 3C on the 3rd floor, if you'd just like to sign the check-in book. Hello, Bethan. Just letting you know I'll be having dinner in my room today. That's absolutely fine, Professor. This, I decided, was what they called a golden opportunity. Professor Jahal? Yes? I'm afraid you have me at a disadvantage. Railby, Terence Railby, we met at Sotheby's a few months ago? Sotheby's? Oh, you don't remember me. No, of course I do. Terry Railby, how have you been? The astute reader has already guessed that both Terence Railby and the previous meeting were utter fiction. Reminded of the various Hitman games and Agent 47's lovely monikers for checking into places. I'd spent some time studying Chahal's movements and habits. He was, by all accounts, absent-minded, and that was something I could use. Ever the gentleman thief, right? Oh, excuse me. Terry here is an STD, a strong, tough dude now. Part of the Special Talent Project. I'm well, thanks. I was hoping I'd run into you. I've heard interesting things about the items you're showcasing here. You remember I do freelance scouting for some wealthy collectors? Yes. Well, a client of mine has expressed an interest in relics from DeFoe Manor in Buckinghamshire. Shy. He's been on my back for a while about it. Between you and me, he seems pretty obsessed. What remained of Professor Jahal's suspicion melted away from his expression as the opportunity to make gold entered the conversation. Well, I'm sure I wouldn't want to damage your professional status. Would you like to come up to my room for drinks? Oh, I don't want to impose. No imposition at all. Please, follow me. Your room key, Mr. Railby? Ah, thank you. Please lead the way, Professor. A bed? Who's your friend? Oh, let me introduce you. This is my personal assistant, Siobhan. She accompanies me on most of my excursions. Siobhan, this is Mr. Railby, an old acquaintance. He's looking for information on DeFoe Manor artifacts. Oh, really? Him and half the people we meet. What is it about that place? Never underestimate the attraction of a mystery, my dear. Please, take a seat, Terry. I'll be right with you. So, interested in ghost stories? The girl struck me as a forceful personality. I gave the matter some thought before replying. Not really, I'm just scouting on behalf of a client, like I told the professor. You know, it's strange to see someone as young as you in the antiques trade. And come to think of it, I thought only old men dressed like that. No offense meant. None taken. I didn't catch your last name? It's O'Malley. Siobhan O'Malley. Couldn't be more Irish if it tried, could it? Sorry to keep you waiting, dear boy. Now then, what shall we talk about? When talking to characters, you must specify a topic of conversation. There are usually several things each character is willing to discuss. For example, try typing, talk to a bed about DeFoe Manor. Talk to a bed about DeFoe Manor. So, I understand you came into possession of artifacts from DeFoe Manor. Yes, indeed, it was astonishing to me that such artifacts existed at all. The whole place burned to the ground. Did you hear about the DeFoe Manor incident? I was experiencing a sick feeling that I had not felt for quite some time. The last I had felt it was while standing at the gates of another country mansion, not long after DeFoe Manor, preparing to break in. Recalling those 5 wretched days churned my stomach with fear, turning what had once been the joy of thievery into an exercise in anxiety. What if this manor is the one that you get sealed in? Just like you did back in that DeFoe Manor, yeah? Never want to break in through a window again. Discussing it brought that feeling back, the act of feigning ignorance, while visions of welding masks and machetes flooded my mind's eye, worsened them. I heard something on the news, and it's been on the news again lately since that Taylor woman died. A lot of silly talk about the paranormal has been abound, so the true facts are near unreachable. But the point is, some enterprising fellows picked up 1 or 2 undamaged items from the ruins. Furniture, books, an ugly little tribal figurine. I took them off their hands, purely out of curiosity, of course. So were there any particular items your client is interested in? Ask a bit about manor. Oh, damn. Sorry. Ask a bit about furniture. Ask a bit about books. Ask O'Malley about DeFoe Manor. I was talking. Ask Siobhan about DeFoe Manor. Just looked up at my ceiling. Damn you, Yahtzee. Trying to have a conversation here. Ask a bit about artifacts. Ask a bit about artifacts. Piece of shit. Ask a bit about the fucking idol. Tell me, does a huge man in a welding mask and leather apron mean anything to you? Not really, should it? Never mind. It's a small African figurine that my client wants me to look into. Resembling a rather ugly tribal god. That old thing? Honestly, despite its age, it's virtually valueless. That's what I said, but my client is very insistent. Also insisted on you not putting apostrophes where you should. He's interested in the paranormal and the idol features in some of the more unlikely accounts of the DeFoe Manor incident. Well, I don't suppose I should ask questions if this man of yours wants to take it off my hands. I don't have it on me right now. It's being kept in the hotel safe. Perhaps we can work out a deal after the fair? I had intended to display it with the other DeFoe artifacts. Inwardly, I just wanted to get this mission completed as fast as possible, but I didn't want to risk suspicion or giving off the wrong impression. That will be fine. So, just out of interest, what else have you picked up from the mansion? Odds and ends, basically. Some silverware and ceramics, painting in the lobby, most of a burnt rocking chair. Sorry, I said it one line too soon. Painting? A landscape from a wall in the mansion's lounge. Of little artistic value, but the artist features prominently in DeFoe Manor's colorful history. Matthew DeFoe? That's him, yes. Bethan, she runs the hotel. She asked if she could display it in the lobby. I like how, old Terry there shifted in, like, his seat there to, like, look at the camera, at us, when the painting was brought up, like, Instantly I recalled the sick feeling I had felt in the lobby. I had seen the painting, but had paid it little heed. Oh. Are you all right, Mr. Railby? You've gone rather pale. What? I'm sorry, I was just wool-gathering for a moment. Lost in history, eh? Something like that. Mr. Railby, what the hell was that? What the hell was what? You were just sitting there, then you went all stiff like you'd seen a ghost. You didn't see it? See what, Mr. Railby? I'm sorry, I have to go. Something's wrong. Oh, well, we won't keep you then. We'll see you later, maybe? My head was spinning, and a sudden nausea churned in my gut. The world seemed to be pulsating, the corners of the room wavering like a heat haze. This is what happens when you don't hydrate enough. It's summertime, come on, Terry. You may say I imagined these things, and I thought that must have been the case. Was I going out of my mind? Was the hotel really changing into some nightmarish twin? Was I the only one who could see it? If I was hallucinating, it was too complex. The harsh wooden floor beneath my feet felt real enough. The horrendous stench of rotting flesh that reached my nostrils could not have been conjured by my imagination. I decided I had to find John DeFoe's idol as soon as possible. If not that, then at least the painting Jahal had mentioned. I was convinced that some connection lay between DeFoe Manor and this sudden madness. We have control. We can save the game. Catch you folks later. Maybe. Just gonna go immerse myself in these whispers here that I'm sure will somehow find a content ID claim attached to them. It's gonna be great. Take care. Toodles? You're not gonna come back, are you? You're fucking done. I can't blame you. It's spook time. I'm stalling. I don't want to go. Help me.